In safety, we all know that having no accidents or incidents for a number of years does not mean that you're not at risk. Maybe the site just got lucky for an injury-free period of time. Only really stopping production and all activities will lead to no risks. Nothing moving, no errors, but also nothing produced. But that doesn't cover the needs of the world. Still, reaching zero is the ultimate goal that drives the development towards excellence and greatness. My name is Sjoerd Nanninga, and during my 20 years of a career in safety consulting, I like to ask professionals in plants what they think is needed to get to zero. This time I spoke with Mike, Sue and Nilesh, great people from the DSM Sydney site. And here is what they answered.
So what does it take to really get to zero? To have zero incidents at risk things at the site?
Yeah, zero is a really good target to aim for, and in a way it is a target. I believe that people try really hard. There will always be something that slips up and they end up will have an incident of some sort. Now that's whether because people don't know or they are distracted with other things that are going on. But to get as close as we can to zero, it involves everybody willing to participate. And to get that participation, the management team has to demonstrate they are committed to it as well. So when people raise issues, they're taken seriously, they're looked at, they're either addressed directly as what the person requested, or if another solution might be found, or it may be that, yeah, okay, something else is in place or coming up that will actually stop that from occurring. So it's listen to what the people are saying, and then feed back to them about, okay, what actually is happening. And then what you end up with is that people do feel comfortable about challenging the status quo and saying, hey, no, this just doesn't feel right, or no, I'm going home with an achy elbow every day and put some ointment on it and it's good the next day, but why should my elbow be sore every day? And they get comfortable in raising those things that other people have just taken for granted, and they're the bits that are going to get you down to zero, because they're the bits that you don't know about, you don't see them. You can't walk around the site and see if somebody's position is actually causing them harm or not. It's that individual coming up to you and saying it. Yes, you still need to do the walkarounds, because you, as the management team on site, you need to make sure that things haven't deteriorated, and also that the safety provisions that you've put in place are still effective, and that we haven't had a change in our workflows or outputs or any other areas that could cause those existing controls to not be effective anymore. So you've got to have that walk around. So they're probably if there was anything, it's those two key bits of listening to what your people have to say and giving them feedback, and also having a walk around yourself and see what's going on. And that shows the true commitment to the workplace, and that's what's going to get you back down to zero.
Because what you're describing is also, like, I think one of the core things in lean, right? To go for yourself, see for yourself, and find ways to kind of empower your workforce, the people that are actually at workstations, to constantly kind of see things that are wasteful or harmful and bring those up, and then also themselves improving things.
I guess that's right. The probably the key structures around lean is people, we refer to it in DSM as turning the triangle upside down. So people at the shop floor, they're finding out what's going on and fixing things. And then it's the difficult things that they can't fix that they feed down to, rather than up the supervisor and manager and so on. They feed it down to them and say, here's a solution, but with my scope in terms of my knowledge or my resources, I can't correct it. We need to make a change in this area. And by them reporting and knowing that it's okay to fix things, they actually do get in and rectify a lot of things before it needs to be reported to and more resources put into it.
So what kind of things do you need to be truly 100% safe in a plant?
So for me, the first thing is to make sure that we have all the risks for our job that is required to be executed. They are all covered, and then controls are in place for them for to address those risks. So I mean, you do a work permit, you identify all the risks. At times you may miss some of the risks, and then when you do your last minute risk assessment and when you hand out a permit with your contractor or whoever, you at least should be able to capture something that you have missed and add them as well at the same time. So, and nobody, I would like nobody to get injured, or you've covered your other checks in terms of when you do Lototo and what are the tryouts for Lototo, they need to be captured. And then some of the repeated like work permits, then you may end up being a bit complacent, because you've done it a few times and then something new comes up. So make sure that gets captured as well. So
and how do you do that? How do you refrain from being complacent?
Yeah, so that is a hard part. You can tend to become complacent, but it's making sure you are issuing the work permit in the field where the job is, and being aware and doing that last minute risk assessment is very, very important.
What components should you have in place if you want to be really safe?
That it got so much in there. If you want to look at the safety, you have to be a right people, a right equipment. You got to have a system in place, and most importantly, we have to be on the back of our mind. We have to be keep thinking again and say what potential issue could come out of the action you're doing. I mean, based on my experience, I find that the people very important when you engage, especially when I deal a lot with the contractor. The first thing that I think when I look at the contractor engaged on site, the supervisor is so important, because I find that if I get the right supervisor, he will manage his crew. But that's the engagement of the contractor. But when it comes to site, the permit system, the handover is crucial. There's no forgiveness. You have to make it. You have to follow properly. You have to doing your proper risk assessment. We have to doing proper isolation. We can't take shortcuts. So that's the way I see it. You want to look at the safety. And then it's not just hand over to the contractor and that's it. You forget about it. Also, the person in charge needs to be continue to monitor the condition of the area. But I cannot be there on the time 24. I mean, like the whole period. So that's why I say it's so important to have the right supervisor, because the supervisor is there to make sure that his people doing the right. Because the different place they move around. They come place. So different place have different requirements, different risks. So there's some people might not be familiar and they might doing something silly or might not unaware they're doing that. I give you an example in my village job. The guy who working, he can just step on the pipe at the other workplace and using that one as like just step on it, just on his footing to put a pressure on it. But when I work in my village company, there's so many plastic pipe because it's a corrosive environment. We're using plastic pipe, and the plastic pipe is not so rigid. So it's just so important that you think that they think that outside they're using other place, they might doing is as normal, but come to this place, come to the place I work before, they have to be very careful in terms of using the equipment. I mean, just their position and the equipment as well. And again, also using equipment. Other place they can using, let's say, aluminum equipment ladder, but again, going to this place, it's corrosive environment. Aluminum ladder is not the right thing. So its safety is to me is have to be just like you keep watching on it, constantly watching. So I don't think you can have it off guard. So that's why I say that's a very hard question, man.
Summing up, here is what I heard. So reaching zero requires serious management commitment, and especially listening skills. You need to go out and connect to people and truly hear what they have to say. Walk around, connect and listen. Constant risk assessment at all stages of the safety processes will get you towards zero. So you have to build in this mindset of verification, and building those verifications in your process will save lives. And of course, it's about people. Jobs are done by people, and you can help them through proper supervision and coaching in the work areas. So you need to go out there yourself, and you need champions that help your people to work in the best possible way. So what is your path towards zero? Please share comments and ideas below. That would be great. I appreciate your reaction. And please subscribe to watch more videos in the safety domain. Thank you for watching.